Welcome to Vision Pros, the show all about spatial computing, Vision OS, and getting work done on the Apple Vision Pro. I'm Tim Chatton, host of the show.
Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Vision Pros. We're joined today by Joseph Simpson of StepInto.Vision, and in today's episode, we're going to dive into his experiences with the new M5 Apple Vision Pro. He's had it for a few days now, and have a lot of questions, as I do not have one. I do have the new Headband, as we'll talk about, and I love that thing, and we'll dive into that. But that's what's up in store for this episode coming up. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so at visionpros.fm/Patreon or by subscribing in Apple Podcasts. With that, here's my conversation all about the new M5 Apple Vision Pro. Hey, welcome back to the podcast, Joseph.
Hey, how's it going? It's great to be here.
Going good. It's been a busy week, a fun week. Got the Muse in on launch day and Wednesday, and haven't found any apps that really work with it yet. And then the Headband came in last night, so that was exciting as well. So,
yeah, the Muse was an interesting launch. I think they probably should have put this on the developer store a couple months ago instead of just releasing it with no apps.
Mm-hmm. Or Apple,
alternatively,
Apple should have implemented Freeform or Apple Notes integration with it as a...
Yeah, Freeform is low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's like Apple should have done something. Here's something you can actually do with it on day one. Because, yeah.
The other thing that I thought was particularly odd is Logitech shipped a little mobile app with it, a Vision OS app.
Yeah, I did that. I did the firmware update from that app, and it says it kind of walks you through all the buttons and things. But within that app, there's no Logitech should have had a simple sketching.
Yeah, that's my point. Why is this app full of 6 little videos instead of a drawing experience or an interactive tutorial or something? It's like, here's an accessory. Here's an app about this accessory where you can't use this accessory. So I was encouraging my friends yesterday at office hours, like, hey, make a obviously Logitech themed tech demo showing them how to use it and see if they will hire you to finish their app, because it's not finished in its current state.
I mean, the first person to just release, a 99-cent, here's just a demo of what this can do. I would buy that. We're eagerly waiting for Cran, which is November 8th or 9th, I think, is what they announced. And Meatballs is getting an update, I believe. I saw some videos online for that. Is it Meta? What is it?
Metaballs.
Is it Metaballs? I've always read that. I've always misread that in my head as Meatballs.
Metaballs.
Metaballs. Okay, that makes more sense than Meatballs. Thank you for the correction, because that would have
Meatballs would be a very different aesthetic.
Yes, that makes a lot more sense and makes the name make a lot more sense. I can't believe I'm just in my head every time I see that and I have it on my Vision Pro. My brain just reads that as Meatballs.
I have so many pronunciations, particularly in video games and books. I think the most notable one is I'm not going to pronounce almost any of the characters in Final Fantasy VII. I have my own brain canon of how those names are pronounced, and I've heard other people pronounce them as I grew up. I'm like, wait a second, I'm never going to say those names. Anybody can hear me.
Aerith is how I say Aerith. Is that correct in your head?
Close.
Okay. But that's definitely a thing, and Lord of the Rings is a big one for that too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So you with StepInto.Vision, you got the Muse and are, I'm sure, looking into creating resources for developers. And, what's that process been like, just digging into what the Muse can do? And
so I haven't had time yet. I saw a couple folks dive into it this week. I'm going to do some example code articles for it, mainly just covering how to connect to it, how to read input. It is kind of an interesting device because we think of it as primarily a stylus for drawing, but I think it could also have interesting use cases as a pointing device, particularly for someone who, if you're giving a whole bunch of technical demos to people, like at a conference or trade show or something, and you don't want to train everybody to use the hand tracking and pinch and stuff, just tell them, oh, it's a laser pointer, just click here. It's got a pressure-sensitive button and pressure-sensitive tip, so when you're drawing on a hard surface, it has pressure sensitivity.
The button's pressure-sensitive? Which one?
Yeah, the kind of wide one.
Okay. It's bizarre to me that you can't... There's no system-level navigation with the Muse, right? Is there some weird setting I'm not seeing?
So I understand why people say that, but the only comparison we have is the MX Inc., which launched on the Quest platform last year. And that one essentially used the same controller input stuff that was built into the controllers, and their headset shifts with controllers first. It's the primary input mechanism there. So they're basically just piggybacking on primary buttons and things like that, and also positional tracking. Apple's ecosystem is a little different. Controllers are just showing up this year, so there's nothing to piggyback on.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of stuff for like Swift UI views, Windows, a little bit of audience and stuff. So like even system gestures aren't necessarily implemented the same from app to app. So it would be kind of hard to say like what are they going to implement it as? I suppose they could do
cursor,
it kind of like a virtual
like
cursor.
A mouse, yeah. And then you use the button to click.
But where is the mouse? Is it projecting out in front of you onto something?
It's like the iPad
infinite
thing.
Distance.
It's like the iPad thing where it's a little circle, and as you move the Muse, it would move with it. But yeah, it might not translate appropriately, which is probably...
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. It's also got haptics built in.
Yeah, it's very satisfying turning it on and off, just the buzz.
It's also got a button at the top, which I think could be kind of a fun game mechanic of like detonator switches.
Jeopardy or whatever.
Yeah, you went to a much more peaceful answer.
That is for turning it on or off, though, right? You can use it as a developer too?
I don't know. We'll have to check.
Okay, because I know in the tutorial it said 3 seconds to turn it on or off. So I wonder if a developer could actually use that if it's like a short button click versus a long press.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we could just do like double taps or things like that.
Yeah, it fits in the Apple Vision Pro official case, but it's kind of weird. You just kind of have to set it horizontally behind the headband is where I found the best spot for it. I kind of wish there would be like a spot next to the battery that would go nicely there, but yeah, I don't know if you would have to add some kind of strap to it or something, or maybe add Velcro to the case as well as the Muse. I wonder if you could Velcro it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to find a spot for that so I don't lose it.
Yeah, I don't. I will have to figure that out when it leaves home.
Now the Meta one has a charging dock type thing. Do we know it's not compatible though? There's different products, and that thing would not work with the Muse, right?
Yeah, that was they sold the MX Inc. and the MX Inc. with the Well as like an add-on or an upcharge. This one is just USB charging, which is whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny that a lot of people were like, when they announced this at WWDC, like, why don't they just use Apple Pencil? I'm like, you will see when you hold the devices side by side. This is what 5 times as large as an Apple Pencil. Like, you need a lot more room for these sensors. They actually have to be spread out a little bit. It's not just like they're taking up space.
The pencil, it's sensing the tilt of the nib like you would on a pen or something, and it's got pressure. But the Muse is like 3D gyroscope, like a video game controller almost.
Yes, essentially accelerometer and a gyroscope, and then also the optical tracking from the headset. Doing some kind of there's some kind of LEDs in here that we can't see, but the headset can.
So the headset, if you look, so it's having visual sight of that Muse is important in some way for the Muse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and with the controllers too, the PSVR controllers. Those rings on the controllers are full of little LEDs that the headset can see that we can't.
I've owned it for 2 years plus. I've never noticed that that's part of the system. Because, it's inside-out tracking with PSVR 2. I wasn't quite sure what that all meant as far as, the controllers, Bluetooth.
So essentially what that means is the headset, the controllers have some stuff built into them to do
there's cameras in the
quick
headset.
movement acceleration stuff, but there's cameras look at the headset looking for the controllers. And those two systems work together to get a pretty accurate input system.
Right, versus PSVR 1, you have a external camera looking for the blue ball, the color balls, yeah.
Yeah, and that could be more accurate in some cases. PlayStation's wasn't, but the Steam VR base
Mhm.
station tracking, when you can have two or more base stations covering an area, you can have incredible tracking accuracy.
Yeah.
So
But
outside in
you
is
have to
all.
set up the room for it. You have to like this room is
Mhm.
my VR room versus inside out tracking. You can move your
Yeah,
PlayStation into like whatever room you want to.
yeah, and it doesn't really lend itself to like standalone headsets where like, do you want a Vision Pro that only works in one room? Like that would kind of suck.
That would, yeah. Yeah, and the PSVR 2 controllers got announced as $250
Hmm.
with the charging dock,
Ridiculous.
which is a $50 charging dock, which I didn't own for a while with my own PSVR 2 because they're USB-C charging, and I do have the charging dock. I do own the charging dock now. It's quite nice and very handy, but not essential. I really wish they would just sell these for $200 without that thing. But
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
that's a kind of a sticker shock.
because it's
I think
$400 new for the entire setup with the headset that works on PC now. You might as well just get that
yeah,
$150 more, or the used market. You probably get these for 300 complete sets or something like that. And Black Friday, I'm sure it'll be 350 or something like that. So November is almost here. So yeah, if you're curious about these. I love the PSVR 2. It's a great headset for gaming. It's got haptics in the head, and Gran Turismo is on another level. So if you have a PlayStation 5 or a PC that can do this stuff, I'd go that route.
yeah. The PSVR is a lot of fun. PSVR 1 was kind of a little better in terms of content library. They didn't
Mhm.
port the games one to one to the new one.
Which is such a shame.
The,
My the biggest game I missed was from the launch. Super Hypercube. I love that game, and
oh,
it's so sad as it wasn't ported. It's like, oh my gosh.
yeah. The other thing that kind of bugs me about PSVR is they don't have audio built in. They ship some little earbuds with it, or you can use your own headphones, or you can use the audio from the TV. Where
Right.
all the other VR headsets have audio built into the headset itself that ends up sounding much better than what PlayStation shipped.
Yeah, I use the Link buds, either the headphones or I have both. I have the headphones and I also have the earbuds.
Mhm.
That's the only earbuds that work with the Portal, so I got that. But yeah, it's kind of I like that they designed this like headphone system where it like tucks away into it. But
Yeah.
spatial audio speakers are always nice. The Vision Pro speakers are just so impressive.
Mhm.
What those
The other
are.
thing that's kind of a regression, we were talking about the charging dock with these. The controllers have a USB-C port on the bottom, and when you buy the charging dock or you get it with this bundle, they come with these little dongles that have a kind of three little or four little, I think it's three little pins on the bottom that line up the charging dock.
Yep, it's
Um,
magnetic as well, so it kind of sucks
but
in
it's
there.
not very magnetic. It's really hard to misline up. I don't think I've ever put them on the dock and got them the first time.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
takes
kind of
some practice.
it's kind of a downgrade from the first version because the controllers, both the PS4 controller and the Move controllers on the last generation, they just fell into their dock. Like they always aligned themselves perfectly with a little bit of gravity, and these don't really do that.
Yeah, I still have my PSVR 1 hooked up to my PS5 Pro because
Nice.
I still need to get the platinum for Astrobot. I have all the
Oh,
stuff
nice.
finished. I need to go through and do that because I love that game. But anyways, fun tangent related because those controllers are great. There's like 2 games for it, so hopefully more will come. But I ultimately think just play games on PlayStation. But that's kind of my philosophy for Apple in general. Like,
Yeah, so the controllers work with a handful of games already. There'll be more showing up soon. I think there are 3 that I know of. There's a Ping Pong Club, the new pickleball game, and Spatial Rift,
mhm.
which is kind of like a defend your home or defend your space as portals open and monsters come through type of game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're kind of I've been working on some example code articles for them, and it's interesting because I thought that there's kind of 2 aspects to interfacing with a device like these. You've got the button presses
Mhm.
and actually physically moving in space. Can you guess which one of those is harder?
The button presses.
Yeah,
Just because I
moving.
knew it'd be the opposite answer of what it should be.
Exactly. I thought, positional tracking would be kind of the more difficult thing to implement. It's a breeze. It's super easy to do. The button presses is all just kind of piggybacked on decades worth of controller stuff in Apple's frameworks, and it's just kind of a mess. The documentation is not particularly there, and they put out a couple example code articles or a couple example code projects. They have 2 full-blown Xcode projects. Only one of them uses buttons, and it uses one button. So there's not really any examples of like, how do I read input from all of these and do different things in different scenes at the same time, things like that. So it's going to take a while to kind of piece together what it can do.
I really wish Sony's Remote Play protocol supported VR Remote Play. I would love to see the Portal app support the Sense controllers and do VR through that. But I know just Remote Play, that just would not be supported at all right now.
Yeah, just like, keeping the PSVR hooked up, but like not plugged into a TV or anything, just like use it like an app that happens to connect to a piece of hardware. Use it from the Vision Pro, but be able to access all that content. Similarly, like what you can do with PCVR, but
yeah. So I want to talk about the new headband. I got this thing in. I measured. I got a medium. Then I measured a couple days later just to check what the current shipping times were, and I was large. The second time, so the medium came in. That's great. I don't know what the scanning is about that, but it's now back upwards to like December. Even the stores, seems like they didn't ship any to the retail stores at launch. I don't know if every single active Vision Pro owner just bought this, like, and Apple didn't expect every one that's still using this thing to actually want to get the headband too, or not.
Yeah. I think people were pretty excited about them. I got it on the new M5. Like, it comes in the box, and they don't ship the other 2 at all. They still have them on the store. If you prefer one of the other 2.
I don't know why you would. It's so much more comfortable for me, at least. One thing I immediately noticed too is facial expressions. The way this thing sits now with the top band and the back band, I can, like, in the past, my eye tracking would get out of whack with facial expressions and like it misseating the headset. Now it seems like I probably don't need to reset my eye tracking nearly as often because it's just not moving around as much as it used to.
Yeah, this definitely seems to do a better job of holding the headset kind of in place once you adjust it.
It's so satisfying having the single knob for both adjustments is just brilliant engineering. It's so satisfying just adjusting it.
And once you get the top strap dialed in, you don't really have to adjust it. You just loosen the back one to take it off and put it back on, and you can just kind of leave the top one. So you don't need to adjust it every time, which is nice.
You can, though, depending if you're sitting up or laying down and want different settings for that. Yep. Yeah,
it's definitely, I would say, a comfort improvement in terms of balance. I'm still not sold on it in terms of weight. It is noticeably heavier, and I used the dual loop band on my original Apple Vision Pro, and I found that to be fine. Not great, but fine. And this is definitely putting a little bit more pressure on my neck, and I've definitely felt that this week.
Oh, interesting.
It's too early to tell if I'm going to keep using it or not. I'll probably give it a couple weeks and see if I adjust to it or not. But I've had some issues with my spine where I've had to really watch that stuff with my enthusiasm for VR headsets.
Yeah. And the dual loop for me always put the Vision Pro at the wrong angle, so I could never use it. Like it sat the Vision Pro at a very uncomfortable angle for me. So I did.
So I'm one of the lucky ones. That one's it's pretty good for me.
Good.
The solo band was totally non-usable, and I tried like the Belkin one and a couple other third-party ones, and I didn't like any of them.
Oh yeah, the Belkin one's really good for me. This is an improvement from the Belkin, but I like the Belkin. It was funny just thinking back to the very first days of the Vision Pro and trying to use the solo loop and just how much pain I was in. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like
you have to clamp it to your face.
Yeah, it's like I love this thing, but oh my gosh, it hurts. It's like this is what they should have shipped originally, I think, because it's good design and Also, laying in bed, it works. Like a lot of the weighted bands, you can't really lay down with them because like you got this big bulge on the back. But the way they add this tungsten and integrated into the band, it doesn't thicken it too much. It's like very comfortable still to lay down and have your head pressed up against the band.
Yeah. The way that I think of the first two bands they shipped is the solo knit band was a beautiful thing for product shots, but it was badly designed. It was obviously badly designed as soon as anybody tried it. The dual loop band was thoughtfully designed and worked for a lot of folks. It even had a little loop on the back for routing the cable so your battery didn't, or so your battery cable didn't get bent. So it was much more thoughtfully designed, but it was ugly. And this one kind of seems to sit between those two. It's a much more beautiful device than or head strap than the dual loop, and it's beautiful for the product photography, but also more ergonomic and easier to adjust. The big downside with the dual loop band is really hard to adjust. So you have to like get it just right. And if you're one of the lucky ones who can put your headset on and off without adjusting it, then great. But if you have to do that every time, it's just such a hassle.
And my hair would get stuck in the Velcro of the dual loop.
Yeah, a lot of folks like that.
It was
Whereas
funny.
The dual knit band is just like it's infinitely adjustable and super easy to adjust every time. It's very intuitive. So I think they kind of nailed that with this one. Yeah,
I had no idea about the little space for the battery cable and the old dual loop. I had no idea that was there.
It makes a difference, and this new one doesn't have one, but I encourage you to get a little Velcro loop, like a cable tie loop.
Okay.
Because I've heard you talk about your
I'm on my third or fourth battery cable.
Yeah, so I think if you round it up around the back a little bit, maybe it'll mitigate some of that.
Yeah, it's funny though. My daughter was playing with the top of the dual loop and counting the ridges on it. She was very intrigued by the design of the top headband for that thing. So I don't think she notices on the solo loop as much the back, but on top of my head, it's like, what's that kind of funny little band thing? Yeah.
It is very satisfying material. I'm kind of hoping for an Apple Watch band like this.
Yeah, it kind of feels
obviously it'd be much smaller, but
can you imagine an Apple Watch band with a tiny little crown that you tighten like that? Oh,
it'd be awesome.
It would be kind of cool. Yeah, I mean,
very geeky, but
the solo loop thing they have for Apple Watch that stretch out over the course of a year and eventually break within 2 years. Imagine like an evolution of that. That's like the kind of the Apple Vision Pro version. I love the solo loop for the Apple Watch, but they just break for me. I'm just too rough.
Yeah, I did the cloth ones for a while. The I forget what they're called, but it's the kind of braided cloth.
Yeah.
I did those for a couple of years, and I got about a year out of them before they were essentially worthless. And then I switched to the silicone loop ones, and I use these now. And I can get about 3 years out of these.
Okay, yeah, it's like it just rips, and it's amazing though because I have my 2015 Apple Watch launched in 2015. I have my 2015 fluoroelastomer navy blue with gold pin band that I still wear to this day, and
nice.
It looks brand new. Like that thing is just solid. And it's funny to have a band now that lasts like a year versus a band that lasts a decade. Like it's wild the difference in that. But anyways, and it's also fascinating the $99 price point. No matter how much it costs Apple to make, this thing with tungsten clearly is probably the most expensive to make. But Apple's like, okay, $99 for the weird Velcro thing that's probably $5 to manufacture, and then it's just they're all the same price. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So the dual loop band is still on the store. The solo loop band or solo knit band is still on the store, and obviously the new one ships with the headset and is available to buy separately. So they're still offering all three. It'll be interesting to see if they keep making all three or if they're just like running out of stock of the other two.
Yeah, like I couldn't find the dual loop when I looked initially, but it is there.
Yeah,
still.
It's not on the store. It's still available.
It's not featured if you look on the accessories.
In the accessory section.
The Solo, I thought was. Is the Solo still showing up as a featured accessory kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. They really want to hide their old dual loop, which I don't. For me, I mean, I know the weight could be an issue for you, but for me, it's like, this new dual loop is the way to go. One thing I was thinking of, so Apple Care, replaces products through express replacement, and sometimes when you do repairs. I wonder how many years until you do an express replacement for a Vision Pro if they offer express replacement, and they send you back an M5 because they ran out of M2s. Do you think we gotta, like in 2 years, if I do express replacement, do you think I would get back an M5?
Oh, I think it would be sooner.
Yeah, I'm curious how.
They're not taking refurbs, and when they send out those replacements, they're usually refurbs, aren't they?
They normally are. Yeah.
So they're not taking trade-ins. So
yeah, no. They'd just be running through whatever inventory they didn't sell initially. So I don't know how many that is.
So, listeners, we are asking for volunteers to drop. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, everyone do it. Let's have everybody that listens to this podcast do express replacements, and let's burn through all the M2 inventory so I can get an M5 for free. Because I'd qualify for express replacement if they do express replacements for the front glass being.
I'm super fortunate. I've never had that issue. Never had any other issues. My headset is pretty close to pristine. I did notice, sitting it side by side with the new one, all the cloth has definitely faded significantly over 2 years of use, which I didn't notice until I was sitting next to the new one. But all the gray cloth is just like, oh, that's a different color gray.
That's funny. Yeah, I finally ordered a $29 replacement face shield thing. Because I was noticing my face getting a little itchy last night, where it's like, let me just get a new one. I've had that thing on my face for 2 years, so let me swap it out.
Yeah, so I am on the other side of the spectrum from you. I have two of them, and I wash them every week. So I have one that is like hanging on my cabinet, ready to go. And then every Saturday, I take this one, put it in the headset, take the other one, and wash it, and then put it on the cabinet. For the
you do notice the difference when you got a nice clean one in there?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm looking for so I'll try to wash that original one once the new one comes in. I wonder if that would be worth doing. And you just soak it in warm water.
So some warm water and like a soap or detergent with no scent or anything.
Yeah, like
so
Dawn
like
soap
a hand
or whatever.
soap or
yeah,
something like that.
And you soak it? Is that the thing you do?
Yeah, I soak it for maybe about a minute and then just kind of massage it.
Pat it dry.
Mm-hmm. And then it dries pretty quickly.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, because last night it's like, oh, my face is getting itchy. I should probably. This thing's been on 2 years of whatever the sweating into it and face oils and stuff. So
yeah, and Apple has a cleaning guide for the whole headset. The face foam or the face cushion, as they call it, is probably the most important one. But they've also got cleaning instructions for the head straps and the actual speaker arms and things like that.
Oh yeah, as I was removing the solo loop, I was noticing, it's a little dirty actually. Go figure. Over 2 years, it'll get a little dirty. Yeah.
I do really appreciate their attachment mechanism, even after all this time. Those little orange pull tabs. It's great. It's really satisfying every time I use it.
Yeah. I was noticing some black material around one of the sides. I'm not sure what that is. Probably metal, just wear or something. But anyways, the M5.
M5.
10% better pixels. Is this noticeable in any real way?
So I've been trying to figure out what that means since I read the press release, and I've heard different accounts for it. What I think it means is that the screen hasn't changed. It's the same screen we've had, but when we're looking around the headset, we're seeing it's using foveated rendering to render just a small cluster of pixels based on where we're looking. I think that cluster is what got 10% bigger. So
the peripheral vision's 10% better around the circle around.
Yeah. So if you imagine a circle getting 10% bigger, that's not very much bigger. It's probably not going to be noticeable in most cases.
The easiest test would probably be to take a screenshot and see what the screenshot looks like between both Vision Pros, right?
Yeah. I will do that.
And this seems like for developers, it'd be easier to record your apps with the 10% better, like it'll look better and stuff. And I'm sure when you put it into the developer mode of like, let me just capture the full video thing, it probably crashes less. I'm not sure if you played around with that.
I haven't done it yet, but yeah, it's never crashed on me, but it does the like, okay, you just took a 2 minute video. I need to lie down. Um,
Yes.
I think the exact warning is like something to do with heat. Like, oh, Vision Pro needs to cool down, but like it doesn't cool down in a minute or two. It's usually like take the headset off and go do something else
Yeah, you have
and come
your
back
hand up
later.
there. It's like,
Yeah. So hopefully the M5 will be better for that. I was hoping the M5 could just allow us to take full resolution screen recordings or images, even if like super short ones, like
mhm.
blast the fans and just let me take on device full res videos. That'd be incredible, but
But
I
that's
didn't
not
get that
there.
yet.
Okay. And then let's see. With the M5, the boot up is definitely faster. I've seen some videos of it, the old Vision Pro being like 38 seconds and the new one being like in the low 20s or something. I forget what the numbers were, but
Yeah. Phil Trout had a really good video on social media. Um, it it's about a minute long video that I swear it must have taken him days to do because he lined up these shots so perfectly well between the M2 and the M5.
mhm.
I think he said it all weekend on it last week, but he did several different tests of like restarting the headset, using Apple Intelligence to summarize long articles, render, like walking into a room where all your widgets kind of snap in and seeing
Yeah.
how quickly those come in, things like that. Really good side-by-side comparison. And he timed it out in the video like pretty well. I seriously really admire
Hmm.
the craftsmanship that went into that.
The widgets seem
So things like that.
especially like a wow thing as far as the speed. The widget improvements, of how
Mhm.
fast those load, and yeah.
Yeah, I still see them kind of snap in. So I'll be in my office and I've got obviously four walls in this room and I'm facing my computer. I don't really have any widgets over here.
Mhm.
I've got some on the wall to the right of me. I've got a couple widgets from apps there. And on the wall behind me, I've got the battery widget and a couple other things and a photo widget. And whenever I turn around to build and run an app, I will see those kind of pop in instantly. But the photo widget always kind of like is like a tired old man sitting up off of a couch. Like it takes him a second to snap in. So the photo widget always just like gradually pops back in, where the other ones kind of like are just instantly back to the way they were.
Yeah, and as far as developing in the M5, I imagine as a developer you run against most of the bottlenecks the M2 would have as far as testing things. Have you noticed it being a better hardware forward being a developer?
Not yet.
Okay.
I haven't done a ton of development with it. I've mostly been using it as a user and using it with the virtual Mac. My plan with the headset is actually to keep my M2 as my primary development device, because that's what
Interesting.
most people are going to have. And I'm going to use this one mostly for actually getting work done outside of that.
Okay.
And I'll build a run on this occasionally, but when I'm writing example code or labs for StepInto.Vision, I'm going to use the M2 for that. When I'm doing 20 builds an hour for Project Graveyard, I'll use the M2, and then at the end of that session, I'll go and build it on the M5 and see what it looks like.
That's interesting because
kind of my plan with it.
I would think the M5 would give you better experience with building a bunch of instances and testing it out and deploying that code. The M2, of course, is the one most people will have for a very long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's a balance of, do you want to be building out on what most people are using or the faster one so you can build faster?
So I don't think the headset is going to do anything for us to speed up the builds. That's all going to be bottlenecked by Xcode on the Mac. I think the new developer strap could help a lot.
Yeah, the M2 works with the new developer strap. So we had initially seen some worrying error messages on social media that, when you use the new developer strap, not fully compatible. But then people started doing speed tests. It's the 20 gigabits that I think is what the M5 supports as well. With this,
I saw other people doing speed tests and saying they couldn't get over 480. So there definitely seems to be some oddness. Maybe it needs like a software update.
Yeah, Justin Searles just posted today on his site 20 gigabits on his M2. So I don't know what's going on there then.
Yeah, they listed it as supported on the developer site. So
yeah,
if it's not working for someone, they might. I know there was a software update this week, so maybe they just haven't installed that yet. It needs some kind of compatibility update to work with the new dev strap.
Yeah, maybe. But that's pretty cool. I wish it had like an audio jack and other things in that developer strap versus just a USB-C port.
Yeah. Or if it could act like a hub and just like let me hook this into a hub and plug it into a bunch of stuff at once, that'd be great.
Yeah, Thunderbolt hub would be amazing. Yeah.
The main use case for it is, it's the developer strap. It's for building and running your apps, particularly if you've got a large app that's got, gigabytes worth of assets in it. The other use case to it is it can hook up to external cameras. I've seen some folks do some really interesting stuff with that. One of the writers at Upload VR actually used it to hook up to a Game Boy camera, like really bridging back decades of technology. And he just got a little window next to him where he can kind of scan the room around him and see his room in real time as a Game Boy camera feed.
Yeah, and you can use it with the Portal app to hook up a Nintendo Switch or whatever console you want to it. I'd probably do a Switch 2 in the headset, so it looks good. But yeah, that's another use of it. And I imagine that higher output is probably does that actually for video? Is 480 megabits versus the 20 gigabits? Is that going to be a big difference for video input and stuff like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure what
the first one. I honestly don't know why they shipped that. Like, why would they ship a USB 2 device essentially in 2025 or 2023 or whenever it was?
Yeah.
That seems kind of like a slap in the face, especially for a $300 accessory to
that
just essentially add USB 2.
Yeah, it's supported this the whole time. People knew when they were looking at the hardware, it's like, oh, that actually supports a lot more than what this developer strap's doing. Yeah. Mac Virtual Display. That's one of the areas I've heard in other podcasts that got probably the biggest improvement with the M5. Like, it's really using that 10% as much as it can, and the 120 hertz refresh is also maxed out there. Is that something you've enjoyed?
So it definitely looks great, but I already thought the other one looks great. So I may not have good enough eyes to really see the difference. I don't see the difference in refresh rate, but I didn't notice any slowness with the previous one. And also with physical screens, I don't generally see the difference between 60 and 120 unless it's a touchscreen device. I can definitely see it on an iPhone when I'm scrolling and stuff. Yeah. But on a TV or a monitor, I'm just like, whatever, they look the same to me. So maybe that's what's happening here. I'm just not...
I wonder if if you're doing Mac gaming that can go 120, that would probably be an instance where that might be cool to check
It definitely
out.
looks great. Text looks incredible. But like I said, I've always thought that about Vision Pro. So
it's very weird. Yeah, I listened to
I need
ATP
to go back and forth real quick.
I know you're wearing an ATP podcast shirt.
Right.
Great show. But yeah, I was listening to their M5 review. They got it in. Casey got it, and John was able to play with his. And I was a bit just like, man, I don't have these visual problems that all you guys are having. And John saying that the iPad's a better bed TV than the Vision Pro. It's like, okay, you have some little white glares every now and then, but it's like, that doesn't ruin it. I'd much rather be in this theater-sized screen than my 11 or 13-inch iPad with the perfect OLED. It's like, it's just so aggravating. It's like, that's okay. That's what you like better, I guess. But, yeah.
Yeah, I would say the biggest improvement in terms of the 120 hertz thing is there was this sentence from the press release last week or the week before where they talked about reduced motion blur in pass-through.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can...
So, the pass-through camera, it's 120 steady now? Is that right?
I think it's still variable.
Okay.
The sentence that stuck out to me is Vision Pro can increase the refresh rate up to 120 hertz for reduced motion blur when users look at their physical surrounding. So what that's pointing out is in the original Vision Pro, there's this noticeable kind of motion blur or smear when you move your head side to side or up and down when you're looking at your room. And it gets worse as the lighting situation gets worse. So in a super bright Apple store, you may not notice it at all, which is kind of convenient. But when you take it home to a dimly lit room, it's very noticeable. The new one has definitely improved it in bright lights. So when I have all my office lights turned on or the window open in the daytime, it's noticeable. It's still there. It's not a solved problem, but it's greatly reduced. As soon as I lower the lights, the problem it's like there was no improvement whatsoever. So it's still pretty bad for low light situations.
Okay.
But this is something you only see on the pass-through video, not the virtual objects that are around you. So like windows or 3D graphics or videos, all that stuff looks incredibly stable and great. It's just if you imagine putting a virtual window, next to a screen on your desk, and you're looking at both of them, as you move your head, the edges of the screen kind of smear a little bit as you move. It's almost like they're about a half second behind. So they still have some work to do. This is not a solved problem, but at least it's something that they're iterating on and making improvements on between generations.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest thing I want is the cameras to just improve in quality. Just, I don't know, higher megapixels or something to like let that be a better view into the real world. The more it can feel like when you take off the headset that you're looking at the same thing as when you put it on, the better.
Better cameras and just brightness as well, which is kind of funny because the screens themselves are incredibly bright. They're like blindingly bright. But the way that the optics bounce the light around so many times in the lenses, we lose like 95% of that light, but before it gets to our eyes. So that is one of the other things I've noticed is every single time I take off the Vision Pro, it's like, oh, it's actually a lot brighter here than I thought.
Yeah. And I don't know when it's pitch black, if Apple could implement night vision goggles almost. Like, I don't know how big that technology is. Is that even like a reasonable request to like, cameras can't do this, let's just do night vision goggles?
I don't know. I did see a game last year from a hackathon that you still need to have all your lights on, but this game used a feature in Vision OS to basically remove all that light and black everything out. And then you're just in a totally black void and you clap your hands to like emit pulses of light that briefly light up. Yeah. And it's like a horror spooky thing. Really, really fun. It's called Pulsar.
Did that
Pulsargeist? Ship? Yeah, it's on the App Store. Pulsargeist.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
It's really fun, especially this time of year. It's kind of a spooky thing. Bit of a jump scare type of thing. So if you don't like that, then maybe steer away.
Right.
But it's fun. But it definitely had me like, you can't see your surroundings at all, but you're still walking around. So like, you're not going to bump into anything as you're like clapping. And the first time I played it, I'm like starting in my office and I'm just like making my way around my apartment. And then I finish the level and I'm standing in my bathroom. Like, how did I get in here? Like, I do not remember coming around this corner.
Right.
So yeah,
that's cool. And then the battery, half hour better in most regards.
I haven't noticed that yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I'm just always plugged in pretty much to another power source as well. So this is good when you forget to plug in, but yeah.
I almost always use it on battery, but I've used my other batteries so much at this point, I've degraded it. So I typically only get about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes on the M2.
Is there any way to find battery health for Vision Pro battery?
I don't think so. I was looking for it one time, and I think it's because like it's an external battery. It's kind of how would you implement that? All of the other devices that Apple has with battery health have the batteries inside the device. It's kind of a weird. I was just thinking about that today on my walk. I was, wait a second. Maybe that's why they don't have battery health in this thing. But it would be nice to just
part of what I like about it because you can just swap out the battery and you don't have to worry about the battery degrading inside a computer.
I think when I eventually box up my first Vision Pro and like keep it for posterity, I will order a brand new battery for it and just like bury it like a pharaoh with all of its toys.
Yeah.
And just like pull it out in 20 years. Like, you're not going to believe how big these things were.
I know. And what's it say to you that they're not accepting them as a trade-in, even if Apple's just eating the cost of just buying them from us to encourage upgrades?
Yeah, I think it kind of sucks. I think I understand They probably are doing everything they can to justify the existence of this product in terms of like shareholder value and whatnot.
Right.
So currently it's not a huge, world-changing device yet, but it has been profitable. Like they
Hmm.
make a profit on every headset they sell. They make a profit on every app they sell. And I don't know if that's made its investment back in terms of R&D, probably not yet.
Hmm.
But I think if they decided to just forego profit for an entire generation, I think there would be very little likelihood that we ever saw another generation of these devices. So
Yeah.
it sucks, but I kind of understand. Someone else was pointing out that Apple generally only, does trade-in programs for devices that have like a strong secondary market, and there hasn't been that much of a secondary market for these yet. So
No.
maybe if enough people are upgrading and selling their M2s, or enough people are just getting rid of them because they don't use them, maybe that would reconvince them to reconsider and maybe we should take trade-ins for these.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't think it would be much of a discount to like get one from refurbished from Apple. Because I think they would probably, you know, lowball us on the trade-in value. Here's $600, and then they would still sell it for like, 27.99 or something. So
Yeah, like I don't know. In my head, it's like Apple. I don't know, an upgrade program of give us $1,500 or something for our headsets, or
mhm.
more would be nice. I don't know, but I'm not delusional thinking they'll give us much more than that.
Yeah.
But it'd be just a nice goodwill gesture. I know with the original iPhone, they dropped the price. This isn't the price drop, but there's a new model. But they, if you bought it at the original $600 price, Apple gave you like a $200 Apple Store gift card for being an original iPhone. So I don't know. It'd be nice if they're like, original Vision Pro owners will treat you nice because you're our best customers. But that's not
Yeah,
Apple
and
right now.
they should do that, and they should do it through the App Store on Vision Pro, so only people who are actually using their headsets get the offer.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, in the resale market, like eBay, what $1,600 to $2,000, and then you have probably $500 worth of stupid eBay fees. Like, just it feels like so not worth it to try to sell this thing on eBay.
Yeah,
If you can find a good buyer locally or something, maybe. But the upgrade seems, yeah. In your mind, like you've been using the M5 for a couple days, things are faster, things look a little better. Like if you weren't a developer doing StepInto.Vision and all this. Would you?
I wouldn't bother.
You wouldn't bother, right? Yeah. You'd get the
No, for
headband,
me,
maybe, but maybe not. Depending on. Sounds like you're pretty set with your other ones, but yeah.
Yeah, so I would, the main reason I got it is because I wanted a second headset. I wanted to have kind of that difference between this is a development machine, this is what I'm actually using. In particular, like I've noticed that, if I put all the widgets and pin windows and stuff just the way that I want, then I'm all of a sudden affecting performance in my app when I'm trying to test stuff. And having a second device to do that is great. And I wasn't about to buy a second M2,
Now,
right before the
so
M5 came out. So I'm like,
your
I'll just wait.
M2, you wiped and you're not logging into your iCloud account with? Is that
I haven't done it yet.
okay?
I need to figure that out because I think my initial idea is like I'm just going to put a separate developer ID on there, but I don't think I can use the virtual display like that, right? I
Oh,
think
right.
have
You need
to
the
be
same
logged in with
Apple
the
ID
same.
logged in, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
So
you
I
wipe
think
and log in, but you don't reinstall all the widgets and media. And
Mhm.
you might turn off certain things from with iCloud, like maybe your photos aren't downloaded onto it, like your.
Yeah, just kind of keep it lean. Don't install a bunch of apps.
What storage
Just
tier did you go with on your original one than this one?
512 on both of them.
On both of them? Okay, yeah.
Which I don't know why they're offering 256 on a
Yeah,
NFL
I
mode.
really wish they upgraded that
Throws
with
a
this new
bone.
model. Like, yeah, like in certain regions it dropped, I guess, around $300 in cost, probably because of exchange rates or I don't know. Probably in America, tariffs influence them not doing any price changes. But it sure would have been nice to just it's same starting price, but it's 512 and then a terabyte, and maybe they do 2 terabytes at the same old price points. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that.
Yeah, so it's definitely a spec bump. It's not a it's not Apple Vision Pro 2 as far as I'm concerned. It's still Apple Vision Pro with just a different system on a chip. I don't think we've really seen what that M5 can do with it yet. It's probably going to take some stuff from Apple in future versions of Vision OS, maybe throughout the 26 cycle. That would be kind of cool if they say, oh, all of a sudden, here's these APIs that work, or this new feature you can use. I haven't seen anything like that yet. Some of the folks in our community have been doing quick tests. Ivan Campos had a scene that has just a whole ton of shader graph materials loaded on different boxes and spheres and stuff. And he tried it in his M2, and like 8 or 10 of the materials just didn't even render. Like, it just didn't show up at all because it was taxed so hard. And then he loaded it in M5, and they all showed up, and they all looked immaculate and running at high frame rates. So it's definitely a much more powerful system in there, particularly from a graphics standpoint. And we're going to test things like mesh instancing and cloning. Like, how many more clones can I have? How many more instances can I have? Can I push more geometry? I don't know if you've seen the Kara Dice app.
Yeah, I haven't installed. I need to play with that still, though.
It's these kind of beautiful recreations of classic cars. I'm not much of a car person, but the developer sent it to me. Like, you should check it out. I'm like, sure. And it looks awesome. It just looks absolutely incredible. On the M2, things look great. On the M5, it's like, wow, this is even better. Like, the light reflections are better. Just really cool stuff. And he actually, he's got an immersive mode where you can see the car as a little model, or you can double tap on it and blow it up to full life size. And that mode, you can also dial in a system environment. So I'm just like sitting in a car on the moon, or on watching Jupiter, things like that. Like, just really cool thing to play out. But that was a good kind of graphics test, because those are not trivial assets. They're like super detailed geometry and high quality textures, high quality reflections, things like that. So switching back and forth in car dice between the two headsets is like, yeah, this is the same app. He hasn't pushed an update for it yet that I know of, but it just looks better with M5 just doing a better job rendering the materials.
It's cool. Yeah, and then I imagine Spatial Toolkit would be fun to use on the M5. Just that's the 3D or 2D to 3D video conversion app. Like, I imagine, because it can take a while on the M2. If I got a long 10-minute video I'm trying to convert, imagine the M5 just blowing that thing out of the water.
Yeah, I was listening to your episode with Devin talking about that. Like, I really need to go through my library and convert some stuff, because I finally got the iPhone 17 Pro this year, so I can start doing some spatial captures. I was coming from a 14 where I didn't have that.
Right. And
I've done a handful of spatial photos, and they look pretty good. I've done some spatial videos, and they look okay. But I was listening to your segment on take a regular 4K video and then spatialize that. Like, that sounds much more compelling.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. Very impressed with that app. And especially on the Vision Pro, being able to live preview the depth and how much you want to apply to that certain video you're working with.
Nice.
Yeah, it's on it's on the iPhone as well as a way to convert, and the iPad if you want to convert there. But the previewing of how much depth is there is obviously harder. It's doing tilt your screen and wobble, the wiggle. Yeah, it's less good there. But my iPad is faster than the Vision Pro, at least with the M2. But
yeah. So some of the other stuff we were thinking about in terms of benchmarking, Apple Intelligence should, in theory, be faster across the board. And in that video that I mentioned from Phil, he did text summarization with long Wikipedia articles, and it was way faster. It was almost instant. But we did one of our developers did some testing from an API standpoint. Like, do these API calls actually happen faster? And so far, the answer is no. There doesn't seem to be any improvement there. So I'm not sure if we're waiting on some kind of update to Xcode or Vision OS, but there hasn't been any noticeable improvement to using foundation models or things like that.
Gotcha. And people are saying apps load faster, which I have never really noticed apps being slow to load. I guess because a lot of the times the apps are just hiding in the background. Which is a clean
or they load a simple window and then load other stuff in the background.
Yeah,
things are snappy. I definitely noticed that. I think probably the most interesting test I did with a new one. Some friends over the weekend released an app called Spooky Vision,
Okay.
which essentially just draws like pumpkins and spiders and Halloween themed things in all over your environment. Just kind of a silly, playful, spooky thing. If you don't
Yeah.
like spiders, maybe sit it out, but it's fun. But it uses your scene geometry.
This takes over your environment entirely, or could you have this loaded while you're watching a video or something like your?
So it works on your pass-through environment. I don't think it's going to. So it's an immersive app. So you
Yeah. Okay.
leave the shared space.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the way that it works, the developer Mike, he actually adopted this from his other app. Aegis does this live scene meshing as you move around, and Vision OS does a pretty good job of kind of remembering the scene mesh as you move around your home. But what I did uh, with Spooky Vision is I set up the device, got it out of the box, did the configuration, things like that in my office with the door closed. And then when I launched Spooky Vision, I just was scanning the environment for the first time and seeing how quickly it was adding assets. And then I opened the door and started walking around the rest of the place. And so the headset is seeing uh, physical surroundings that it's never seen before. And as fast as I could turn my head, it is meshing everything and spawning geometry and assets and stuff like that. So like it is fast. And the first one was not that fast. It was, oh, let me slowly pan my head around so it can kind of get a good look at everything. Like this one is like, nope, I see it all. I'm just like throwing everything I can at it. So
Well, I wonder
pretty huge
too
improvement.
with that the widgets. Sometimes widgets just never appear in my room. I wonder if the M5 would just have that with the better meshing of your rooms, just be more consistent with widgets always appearing as they should and knowing about what room you're in.
Mm. I did notice an interesting thing. I don't know if this was just a fluke, but I was using the Vision Pro, the M5, in my other room last night, and I had the office light off in here, and I came in with no lights on, and I could see all my widgets and my pinned windows, and they all looked perfectly placed. And I didn't get the low light tracking warning. Like, is this better? Like, I'm not used to that. I'm used to immediately getting that warning of like, hey, there's no lights on in here.
Yep, and the widgets are not anywhere to be seen if it's no lights are on.
Yeah, they definitely showed up.
Huh. That's curious.
We'll have to see if that keeps happening.
Yeah. Yeah, very curious. Yeah, you almost want a Vision Pro with a little light on it that can.
Yeah, a little headlamp. That's what you need. Just go down to the hardware store. And
Yeah,
little
that would
headlamp
not
for it.
annoy anyone else in the house. It's like it's too dark. It is funny when I'm in like an immersive mode for the Vision Pro, and someone else turns off the lights of the room, and then you get out of the immersive mode. It's like, oh, the lights are now off.
Yeah,
You
it's kind of like
don't
when you go,
know. You don't realize that the lights get turned off when you're wearing it. Yeah.
like when you go see a movie at 4:30 in the winter time, and you come
Yep.
out of the theater and it's dark. Like, wait, what?
Mhm.
What happened to the day?
Totally. Yeah. Well, anything else on the M5 of note? I'm trying to think what else is going on with that update.
So I think it's mostly, like we said, it's a spec bump update. It's mostly just reassuring that Apple is continuing to invest in the Vision Pro ecosystem. We've seen a lot of those investments in other areas, like they're continuing to improve Vision OS 26. They're hosting developer events. They're working with third parties to bring more content. But this was the first kind of like, oh, there's a second generation or a second version of this thing. So it is nice to see. Unfortunately, it doesn't really solve a lot of the complaints that folks had with it.
Yeah, the headband solves one of them, but just one.
Yeah.
The price is still the big one, and it's a shame they couldn't figure out how to, in more regions at least, drop it, to a lower cost.
Yeah.
Like
I
was thinking, like if they got it to $299.99, that would just getting right under $3 would be a huge win.
I don't think so.
No, you don't think?
No. I think anything over $1,500 is always going to be a niche product. I don't think you're ever going to see mainstream adoption above that price point.
Yeah, I mean you're probably right, but yeah,
I mean, if you
little
look at Apple's other products, the MacBook Air is what sells because it's cheap. It's not because it's the best. It's because it's cheap.
It's funny. The iPhone is the one product that just goes out the window for the most expensive one because it's a monthly payment thing and people don't care about the cost as much.
Yeah, I was really surprised about the numbers for the iPhone Max and the Pro Max.
Yeah,
I didn't
people love that thing. The most expensive
one.
Yeah, they go for it.
It's too big for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big Vision Pro. It's here. If anything, I think it's like I was kind of joking with some friends, like, why did they? People wonder like why bother with just a spec bump update? And I'm like, well, at some point they ran out of M2. Like they're not going to keep making those forever. They're not putting them in anything else. So
yeah, and you can just put it in there without re-engineering it. Like, and there's no like R2 chip.
No, not
does that surprise you at all? Like the R1's still, I guess, doing its job.
Yeah, I guess since they didn't change the cameras, which it's mostly working with the cameras and things like that, so it doesn't need any kind of improvement yet.
Yeah, but I'm glad they updated it, and it'll last many more years on the M5. And
yeah, and particularly for those who were on the fence about buying one, I'm glad they're not going to go to the Apple Store and buy an M2 now and only get 2 or 3 years out of that. They'll get an M5 and they'll get 6, 7, 8 years out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's definitely a nice improvement. It will be interesting to see how long until Apple ships a version of Vision OS that doesn't work with the original Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, I'm curious.
They were pretty quick to cut off the first-gen Apple Watch because it was so thoroughly underpowered. But the M2 is not particularly underpowered.
It's not. The OS is an OS that has gobs of RAM. You can load up unlimited windows without. Have you ever ran this issue of? I've never ran into the issue of having too many windows open, and when you look at it, it's not there and being available to open.
I've definitely had that with widgets, where I put too many widgets on. I went a little widget crazy during the betas. And it's definitely chugging. Like I could see it struggling to catch up as I move my head around. But
right, but with Windows, I've not had this issue. But yeah, widgets is where you start to encounter some of that stuff. But yeah, it feels like M2, unless Apple with the future OSs starts demanding more of the OS, it's performance. So we'll see how they fine tune that balance. And
the other.
I was wondering, do we get another spec bump before we get a redesigned Vision Pro? Is the next step a redesign, or are they going to we don't have time to redesign it still, let's put the M7 or 8 in this thing?
I really hope it's a redesign, not another spec bump.
Yeah, I hope so too, because by the time we get this M7 or M8, it's been a couple more years. So
yeah. The other thing I'm wondering, I'm not sure if there's an option for this yet or not, but as a developer, can I say this app is only going to work on M5?
That'll be rough because so many. I have to imagine. So there's such a small Vision Pro user base already. I'd imagine the majority will be M2 users for many years to come because I'd imagine the bulk of purchases were right away. You'll get the people with a special you have to have some kind of means to get the Vision Pro originally. A lot of people, it was a stretch to get it, and they can't stretch multiple times that quickly. So I don't know how many people it was a big stretch to get it originally, and they aren't willing to stretch again for it. And I think the M2 will be the primary user base for a while, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if there are specific experiences that you can create that can't run on the M2. Will you be able to release an app that can only target the M5 or specific features in an app? So if you have an app full of immersive environments, and these 3 run on the M2 and these 3 only run on the M5. Is it possible for the developer to check and say, does this developer have? I
know with iPads, they have had to do tricky things with if you're trying to limit to hardware, they try to find some weird thing about it doesn't have this camera, so it's not going to run this.
Yeah, and Apple's approach is usually target the OS and try to make your app scale within that OS. So if you look at Mac OS, you could buy an M1 MacBook Air with 8 gigs of RAM or an M1 Ultra with gobs of RAM and super fast graphics and stuff, but they could both run Final Cut Pro.
They
The
totally
MacBook
can't.
Air wouldn't run it great, but it would still run and function.
Yeah,
So I think
I
that's
could
kind
run
of what they
File.
would encourage.
Yeah, I could run Final Cut Pro on my 2011 MacBook Air.
Yeah.
Not sure how well that would run today with that because you can update the Final Cut Pro to the whatever version's running these days. But yeah, yeah, that'll be curious. Yeah, as a developer, if you can limit stuff based on the chip, it's your knowledge that is not yet available.
Not yet. It would either be, I think it would, Apple's preference would probably be, target an OS. Like, does it support Vision OS 28 or 29? Or often they want you to check for specific device capabilities. So, like, does this iPad support X feature? Then your feature can use that feature.
As a developer, is there a way to say this only runs if it has 120 hertz refresh rate?
That would be interesting. Just grab delta time and do some quick and dirty math. And
it can't run. It doesn't have a high enough refresh rate for a good experience.
Yeah, please stare at this weird frog shader for 3 seconds while we test your device.
Yep. Well, anything else in the M5? I want to touch briefly on the Galaxy XR, and then we'll wrap it up.
Cool. Yeah, let's talk.
So Galaxy XR, it launched the same day as the Vision Pro M5, to my knowledge. I don't think that was on accident. But it's half the price of the Vision Pro at $18.99, I think, or $17.99. And it's got the second generation of displays that are in the Vision Pro. So hypothetically, better field of view and things look better in that headset. I'm not sure on that because the chip will probably, as we learned, the chip influences how good you can actually run those displays. And it's got these $250 controllers, which is interesting because it's the same price Apple's selling the PSVR 2 controllers for. Wonder if that's a coincidence at all. And they have an eerily similar looking travel case that you can buy for it. And the controller sold out instantly, but you can still buy the headset. It looks like a Vision Pro sort of with not a display interface, but it kind of looks the same. The external display. It's running some kind of mimic of Vision OS that runs, I think, Android apps. Like the Netflix app we saw that is shipping with it appears to just be a Netflix phone app with a rectangle that's not the right orientation. And YouTube, of course, is on there. I wonder if that's why YouTube's not on Vision OS yet. I don't know. Any thoughts about this?
Yeah, so from a hardware standpoint, good for them to finally get it out there. They've been working on it for a while. It's nice to see someone on the Android side who isn't Meta putting something out in the VR community. It is, like you said, the screens are interesting. I was looking at the resolution compared to the Vision Pro, and it seems to have much more pixels vertically than the Vision Pro, and I'm not sure why.
Well, the field of view is bigger, right?
It must be.
That's what I've read. The field of view is bigger, and that's my biggest complaint of the Vision Pro displays is I put in the PSVR 2, it's like, oh, this is what a good field of view is, and then put in the Vision Pro, it's like, oh, it's this field of view. It's not quite as good. You forget about it, sort of, but...
Yeah. Yeah, and then I saw somebody posted like a side-by-side geek score thing on social media. I'm not sure how accurate this was, but they compared the Galaxy XR versus the Apple Vision Pro M5, and the M5 was almost 5 times as fast across the board on all the scores.
I believe it. I'm sure the M2 is probably... Do you think the M2's faster than that thing? It might be.
It's got to be close, yeah.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like Apple has just this incredible lead in the M series chips and the Apple Silicon stuff on the iPhone too. Just like they have such an incredible advantage there that they just need to keep. I don't know, the hardware team. There's so many things we can complain about with Apple right now, but the hardware is not one of them.
Nope.
Like they are just nailing it on every single device that they put out. The other stuff with the Galaxy, they made an interesting choice to ship the entire Play Store to the device, not just like letting developers opt out like Apple did.
Do you think that'll anger any developers? Because
I don't know.
It's weird. I wish Apple did what Google did there and did the opt-out thing. I really do.
So I have mixed thoughts on it because as a consumer, I'm like, yeah, just let me use my apps. Like I can deal with the issues. But as someone who builds and support apps, if I don't have a device, I can't take feedback or criticism about something that I'm not supporting. So it is kind of is Netflix going to get thousands of customer service complaints about something that like, hey, we're not part of this conversation and we don't have any way to stop this.
And it's funny, I think it's actually pre-installed on the device for Netflix.
Oh, that's even worse.
I'm pretty sure is what I read, but I'm not positive. Another interesting decision, it doesn't ship with a light seal. It's available, I believe. I believe it's not there by default. I think it's extra. I might be wrong there.
I thought they shipped in the box, but they didn't ship with the controllers.
They didn't ship. The controllers aren't in the box either.
I will say, people keep saying it looks like Vision Pro. I think it only kind of looks like Vision Pro from the front, and as soon as you see it from the other angle, it looks nothing like it.
Yeah, it's got a big knob on the back, I think, to tighten the thing. Is that right?
Yeah, so it has a head strap that is more like kind of a halo strap design, like we saw on some of the other headsets, kind of loosely inspired by what's on PSVR, but that has kind of a loop that goes up, where this is more of a band that goes around. It's similar to what we had on Quest Pro, and the big downside with that is that head strap is not removable on the Galaxy XR. So if you
it's stuck on there?
Yeah, you cannot remove it and replace it with something else, which seems really bad for 2025. Like we learned this lesson with Quest 1, like do not make a headset where you can't remove this, because users' heads are very different sizes and shapes, and I've seen a lot of folks already complaining that it's just not comfortable for them.
Okay, there are light shields. I'm looking at the box here. What's in it? Protective cover, just like the Vision Pro, the little thing that goes over the front glass. Mm-hmm. This thing looks less comfortable to lay down in bed with. Am I wrong there? That kind of design versus Apple's fabric. Yeah.
Yeah. So with all the extra stuff on the back, the dial and the interface in the back, it's just not going to be comfortable to lay back or lean back in a chair or sofa or anything like that.
Because that's one of the biggest things with the Vision Pro. I've used PlayStation's VR, and I can't imagine laying down in bed with that thing. Similar to this, like one of the hugest things, like just being able to use it in bed or on a recliner is huge. Having a pillow behind your head, it's like with the fabric design, it's so nice.
Just think of flying with the two headsets, flying with the Vision Pro versus flying with something where literally the entire flight you're like banging your head on the seat.
The other thing is, from a travel perspective, being able to remove the head strap makes it much more compact to put it in some kind of smaller travel case. Sounds like this would not be available to do that with, right?
Nope. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Identical battery design. I love that they have a little circular puck thing that plugs into the headset that you twist off, just like Apple Vision Pro does, and identical battery design, which it's so flagrant how they let's just copy everything. It's kind of like what they did with the iPhone originally. It's like, let's just make a mere copy of this. Just it's so it feels tasteless, but I kind of want to try one at the same time just to see what that thing's like.
Yeah, I'll definitely try one if I see one. I don't know if anyone is doing demos locally, but I'll probably some of the folks at the VR meetup locally might get them, and I'll try them then. But I'm not rushing out to get one. As a developer, I have basically no interest in developing for Google's platforms. I kind of went down that road with Google Daydream and spent about 1.5 years of my life building stuff for a platform that they just decided to just erase from existence like overnight. And I hope that doesn't happen with Galaxy XR and Android XR, but I honestly just don't have any faith in Google to stay focused on a product long term. So it's like, it seems like anything that they have launched like after 2010 is just almost going to die any day now. Anything that was before that, like, YouTube or Google Docs, like, oh, it's fine. This will be around forever. It seems like everything that they have invented or released since then is like, nope, don't bother. They're going to kill it off.
Yeah. It's interesting. The light shield, I think, is just one light shield that works for everybody. And they have the forehead cushion, which they have size adjusters for that. The light seal is such a fun thing. How many varieties and different sizes they have for that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like when Vision Pro first came out, everybody was doing the scans with their phone to get their size, and there was like a alarming number of people getting the exact same measurements. Like, is this app broken?
Right. Yeah. And then it's only 256 gigabytes of storage.
Mm-hmm.
It's, that's whatever. And then AI seems to be heavily integrated throughout this experience, which kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what people seem to be the most excited about. It can kind of see what you can see. They've already got some tech on Android called Circle to Search on your screen-based devices, but they've kind of implemented that in Air where you can kind of like draw with your finger. Things like that are kind of cool, but also creepy. You're going to have to be really careful about like what are you showing to the headset all the time, and do you trust this headset vendor? I think Samsung can probably be trusted. Google a little bit less so in terms of, hey, that's a nice utility bill there. Let me just scan that and add that to your permanent record on Google.
Yep. And then it does have, let's see, 6.5 megapixel camera? Is that right? Yeah.
So a little bit better cameras.
They're definitely playing into content, like they're bundling in NFL, NBA, and all this stuff with it, which is very smart because that's something these things do great. But yeah.
Yeah, they said that gaming's not a focus for it, but there will be plenty of games coming. I think it'll be a little bit easier for developers to ship their Quest games, to port their Quest games to Android XR, because Quest is already built on Android. So particularly folks who are working in Unreal Engine and Unity, they'll have some work to do, but it's not going to be the Herculean effort that it has been to get stuff on Vision Pro.
And then Wi-Fi 7, which the Vision Pro
does not have.
Very bad Wi-Fi. I'm amazed my remote play on the PlayStation works as well as it does with what it's using, but that is one substantial improvement for those that are remote playing. I wonder if there will be remote play experiences there that are good. But anyways,
there's always something with an Apple device. It's either the Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi or the cellular modem or the way too little RAM. Like this, they never have all of the dials turned up in the same generation.
It's a shame the M5 didn't pack in the N1 chip that the iPad Pro did.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah. But anyways, that's just some Galaxy XR stuff. I'll probably be trying to find someone that actually gets one of these things that have more in depth about the conversation about what it's like to use. But very interesting times. The M5 came out, Galaxy XR came out the same day. No reviews really. The press had a hands-on demo to wow people, kind of like Apple did, the wow people before the reviews came out. I wonder if the reviews will be more negative like the Apple Vision Pro reviews were versus the actual demo experience, which are designed to amaze you and all that.
Yeah, one of the reviews I read from Upload VR, basically it sounds like what they did is like some Google folks and Samsung folks used the headset in front of them and described it to them for a while before letting them use it. And like, we're like industry veterans. We know how to use a headset, but it was like a really long like presentation. Like, we're going to show you what we're doing with it, and they're just like, that's still weird.
And they couldn't capture any device footage and all that. So, I think that'll do it for this episode. So StepInto.Vision is the website to check out for all the development resources you're working on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, we do. I write a lot of example code there. Some friends and colleagues are working on new articles for us. We do 2 weekly meetups now, not just one. So I host one called StepInto.Vision Office Hours every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And some colleagues in Europe host one at 11 a.m. Central European Time. So we now have 2 of these. We're working on getting one fired up in Asia, hopefully by the end of the year. But if you are working on Vision OS and want to find a community of like-minded folks who are building stuff, come and join us. It is definitely the Friday one is always like the highlight of my week. It skews a bit more geeky, technical. We'll share screens and open Xcode and figure out a Composer Pro and Blender and stuff like that. So it's just fun to help each other and geek out about stuff. This week we just pretty much talked about the new headset the entire time. And controllers and the Muse and things like that. So
that's cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm excited for more Muse apps to show up on that app store. So I'll be keeping an eye, and it'll be cool for you to get the documentation out so more developers can build those.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Joseph. Really appreciate your time diving into the M5. I'm very jealous, but do the smart thing and not try to sell mine and upgrade, because very happy with the M2 still. Very great device.
Well, think of it this way. It's a first generation device. You have to keep it forever.
That's true. I still have my original iPhone, my original iPad. Definitely keep it. Yeah. For sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me back. It's always great to be here.
Appreciate your time. Well, that's my discussion with Joseph, all about the M5, Apple Vision Pro, the new accessories, the new headband, and Galaxy XR. Make sure to check out StepInto.Vision for all that he is up to. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so over at visionpros.fm/Patreon or by subscribing in Apple Podcasts. With that, I'll talk with everyone again real soon.